My dear students, in this video we shall see another poem, After Blenheim, written by Robert Southey. He's an English romantic poet, a poet laureate, court poet, historian, essayist, biographer, contemporary of William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. His works are Talaba the Destroyer, Epic, Madoc, The Curse of Kehama, My Days Among the Dead Are Past, The Battle of Blenheim, The Inchcape Rock, The Story of Three Bears. In the poem After Blenheim, we have a brief summary right now. This poem talks about in one summer evening, old Caspar was sitting before the cottage where his grandchildren were playing. The grandchildren are Peterkin and Wilhelmine. Peterkin comes with a skull which he found at the riverbed. Old Caspar says that the skull is some dead soldier who died in the Battle of Blenheim. Caspar tells that many were killed in the Spanish Succession War. This may be some soldiers who died in the battle. Caspar's father's cottage was burnt and he had to flee with his wife and children. According to old Caspar, the Battle of Blenheim was a great famous victory. The heroes of the war are the Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene of Austria. The war was between the English and the French. The English won the war and the French was defeated. Wilhelmine, the granddaughter, could not understand how the battle was a great victory and calls this battle as a wicked thing. Peterkin questions how the battle was of any good. Caspar could not understand these questions and he simply said that it was a great victory. Let us look at the historical background of the battle. The war broke out in 1701 between Austria and France when King Louis of France tried to ascend the throne of Austria. On the one side, we have the coalition group, the European powers, namely England, Netherlands, and Austria joining together. On the other side, we have the coalition group, the Italian princes of Mantua and Savoy, along with the German princes from Bavaria and Cologne, allied themselves with France. So on the one side we have the France group, another side we have the England group, and this prince of Savoy later joins with this Austria. So we have two coalition groups fighting each other. The Duke of Marlborough, the English general, marched to the upper Danube River, and then Prince Eugene of Savoy joined with the anti-French coalition and became the Austrian general and supported the English and then fought against the French. They defeated the French in 1704 in the Battle of Blenheim. Duke of Marlborough and Prince Eugene of Savoy were great war heroes. My dear friends, now let us come to the stanza 1. It reads, "It was a summer evening, old Caspar's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him spotted on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine." So here we have the rhyming pattern A, B, C, B, T, D. A, evening, B sound, done and sun, C sound, door, D sound, green and Wilhelmine. So that is the rhyming pattern. All through we can see important words, significant words. Spotted means playing. Blenheim is known as the battle hotshot in 1704. It's the battlefield. This After Blenheim is the place where the battle was taking place. Green is actually a metonym, a green field or the ground that is seen here. In this stanza sets tone for the rest of the narration and reflection by picturizing the evening. The summer evening is normally long and people spend considerable amount of time outside the house. One summer evening, old Caspar was sitting in front of his cottage door in the sun. He saw the little granddaughter Wilhelmine playing in the grass field or in the lawn. So what we have in the summer evening, old Caspar was sitting in front of his cottage door and he was observing the grandchild what she was doing. She was playing probably in the lawn or in the green field, and then he was relaxing himself in the sun in front of this cottage. That's what this first stanza is talking about. It sets tone for the rest of the passage. In stanza 2, we see again the same pattern. She saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. He came to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. So rivulet here means a small river or stream beside bees nearby. The meaning of this stanza: Wilhelmine saw her brother Peterkin rolling something large, smooth and round towards the house. He found that beside the small river, the river Danube, we need to remember, he found the large, round and smooth thing while playing near the river that had aroused curiosity in him. He had come to his grandfather to ask him an explanation about the object. So we see she is seeing, who is this she? She is the Wilhelmine, saw Peterkin coming with something that is rolled, large and round, something rolling and bringing. He found that one near the rivulet, near the riverside. While he was playing there, then he found this object, something that is large and round, and the poet qualifies it as large, smooth and round. And he came to his grandfather so that he could ask what it is. Can you just tell what this large, smooth and round thing is all about? Coming to the third stanza, we see old Caspar took it from the boy, who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head, and with a natural sigh, some poor fellow's skull, said he, who fell in the great victory. Expectant means eagerly waiting for a reply. Sigh means exhale noisily when one reminds of something. So here what we have is the elderly Caspar, the old Caspar, took that round thing from that little boy Peterkin. Peterkin stood there with expectation and eagerness to hear from his grandfather, old Caspar. After a brief look at it, the old Caspar shook his head with a sigh and found it to be a skull of some poor fellow. It may be the skull of a soldier or a person who had died in the battle of Blenheim, in the great victory. The death of that poor person is the cost of the great victory. So what we have is the old Caspar taking that skull or that round smooth thing in his hand, and then boy is expecting or looking towards the old Caspar what he is going to say about this object. The old man shook his head. Old Caspar shook his head and he said, with a natural sign, that means he was feeling a kind of a relief. He knew what it is. It is some poor fellow's skull. That means it is the skull of someone who had died, who fell in the great victory. I take note how he says about this great victory. What is this great victory he is referring to? He is referring to the battle of Blenheim between the English and the French. So this is a skull that is of the battlefield that took place in 1701 to 1704. Coming to this stanza 4, we have again this rhyming pattern. I find them in the garden, for there is many here about, and often when I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out, for many thousands men, said he, were slain in the great victory. So great victory here refers to the battle of Blenheim, where English defeated the French. Slain means killed. Plowshare is the cutting blade of a plow behind the cutler. Elderly Caspar found many such skulls all over the farm while plowing. Many thousand men were killed in the battle, yet they know to be a great victory. The great victory refers to the triumph in the battle. For people, death is an example of sheer patriotism. Caspar believed that the soldiers sacrificed their lives for the country and did not die in vain. Their death served the purpose of victory in the battle. So in this stanza we see Old Caspar is telling that he sees this type of things, this type of round like thing, the skull in the garden. For there are many people who are killed, and he finds it often while plowing. Often when he plows in the garden, the plowshare brings it out, takes that out, and he says there are many people, thousands of people killed in that great victory. That's all for us today in this video. When we come back, we will see the stanza 5 and the other stanzas.